and welcome to the 2018 Foxboro Jaycees Candidates Night. The Jaycees are proud to present this annual forum intended to provide you, the voters of Foxboro, an opportunity to meet the candidates running for local office and to hear their views on important issues which they would address as elected officials in our community. My name is Sophia Manos. I'm a proud member of the Foxboro Jaycees, and I'm happy to be here tonight as your moderator for this evening. We are live from Foxboro Cable Access Studio, and first things first, I would like to thank Michael Weber, Lauren Bitar, Neil Kaiser, Mike Stewart, Mike Mills, Robert Gillis, Mark Rivard, the legendary Paul Beck, and the many people working hard behind the scenes to deliver this broadcast to you tonight. Just want to get that out of the way. The 2018 Foxboro Town election will take place on Monday, May 7th at the John J. Ahern School. Polls will be open at 7 a.m., and they will close at 8 p.m. There are 12 candidates in play for this election. 6 of these candidates are running for re-election without opposition. And there are 2 big contested races this year, School Committee and Board of Selectmen, both for a term of 3 years. All candidates were invited to participate this evening. We are very happy to have the ones we have here. We invite candidates who decline a chance to submit up to a 5-minute video statement, or offer us a written statement, which we can read on the air. So even while the unopposed candidates could not be with us tonight, we do have a full and hopefully very informative evening ahead for you. Tonight we have with us 2 candidates running for school committee, a third on tape, and we are very pleased to have all 3 candidates for Board of Selectmen present. On behalf of the Foxboro Jaycees, I would like to commend all of these individuals who have stepped forward to make the commitment to serve our community. The Jaycees applaud them all of them for offering their talents and their time to serve Foxboro. Now, my role as moderator is to ensure things run smoothly, or so I hope. So let's go over the rules for this evening. The format is as follows. Candidates running for the contested office will each open with a 3-minute statement and then be asked a series of questions from our panel. For the Q&A segments, the candidates will have 2 minutes to answer the panel's questions, after which they may ask a follow-up. If a follow-up question is asked, the candidates will then have 1 minute to answer. Immediately after the question and answer period, each candidate will have up to 2 minutes to make closing remarks. A timekeeper will advise candidates of their time constraints off camera. Now, got to get something else out of the way. For the record, the Foxboro Jaycees, as an organization, cannot and will not endorse any particular candidate, nor can we espouse any particular point of view. Political point of view. Whoa, almost let that one go. Political point of view. This is specifically prohibited in our chapter bylaws. As such, I will not be asking the candidates any questions this evening. Instead, here to get all of the details out of the candidates, we have our intrepid local journalists present. So let's meet our panel of 2. A big welcome to Alexandra Gomes from the Foxboro Reporter Sun Chronicle and Dan Lieben from the Foxboro Patch. Thank you so much for being here. It'd be impossible for the Jaycees to run this event without you guys, so thanks. Okay, so we're very happy to have you here, and we're also happy to have the candidates all present as well. So let's get this rolling, let's get this started. We will start with the candidates for school committee. Up first, we're gonna play a video statement from Richard Pearson. He could not be with us tonight, but he did come in last week to record a message for the viewers. Let's take a look.
Hello, I am Richard Pearson, and I am excited, proud, and honored to be running for school committee for the town of Foxboro. I would like to apologize to the voters, the Jaycees, and the other candidates for my inability to attend the candidates' night on April 19th. As a husband of an educator, this time has traditionally been a vacation week for my family. This does not change my resolve to work very hard for the people of Foxboro. I would like to tell you a bit about my family, as well as the history of my years in education. I have lived in the town since 1975. I attended the old Robinson Hills School beginning in 4th grade and graduated from Foxboro High School in 1984. My wife of 27 years, Lisa, is a high school teacher. My 2 daughters, Shannon and Erin, graduated from Foxboro High School. Shannon is an elementary Spanish teacher, and my daughter Erin has a degree in expressive arts therapy from Lesley University. I am very proud of both of them and the education they receive from the Foxboro Public Schools is a big part of their success. My teaching career began at Walpole High School in 1989 as a high school and middle school band director. I followed that job with 7 years at Medfield High School as director of music and high school band director. After receiving a master's degree in educational administration, my first administrative job was assistant principal at Foxboro High School from 2000 to 2004. I then moved on to principal of Medway High School for 8 years before I began my current job for the past 6 years at the Massachusetts Interscholastic Athletic Association and Massachusetts School Administrators Association. These 29 years involved in education will be the foundation for what I offer to the community of Foxboro and the Foxboro Public Schools. My varied school experiences, as well as my time at the current state associations, allows me to stay aware of current trends, thinking, and initiatives across the country. If elected to the school committee for the town of Foxboro, I will bring this extensive knowledge to the table. A hardworking and dedicated school committee is very valuable to a community. One requirement for a school committee is to approve the budget and work closely with the town for intelligent fiscal management. Additionally, the school committee hires a superintendent so that through his or her leadership, they will develop those expectations that guide and lead the teachers each and every day. And finally, our school committee is responsible for maintaining and approving policy that helps to regulate, but also support the procedures and protocols driving the school system. I promise you, the voters, that I will retain an intelligent focus on these very important responsibilities. I would like the voters to know there are a few things that are important to me. First and foremost are safe and supportive schools. When I speak about safety, I mean safety from physical harm, as well as emotional safety for all students. Supporting the social and emotional needs of students is critically important. I am also interested in promoting creativity within our school system. Creativity allows freedom for educators to explore challenging opportunities for students, but also comes in the form of offerings such as the arts. I also believe in activities and efforts that engage all students. Each student, no matter their financial, emotional, or intellectual means, should be able to discover what drives their heart and mind. Allowing students to explore their full potential or simply participate in extracurricular school activities is important to student success. I ask for your vote on May 7th. Please allow me to support the Foxboro Public Schools as a school committee member for the next 3 years. I offer the community focused energy and commitment to be an educational leader for our outstanding school system. Thank you.
Thanks. The two other candidates vying for school committee slots are here tonight. The incumbent is Ms. Tina Belanger, and challenging for her second year, Ms. Nancy Morrison. Thank you both for being here this evening. We did a coin flip early to determine who would go first. Nancy won the toss, and she chose to go second. So, Tina, you have 3 minutes for your opening statement. Please begin when you're ready.
Thank you, Sophia. Thank you to you. Thank you to the Foxboro Jaycees and to Foxboro Cable Access for providing this forum and the opportunity to introduce myself to the community. My name is Christina Bellinger, and many of you know me as Tina. My husband Bill and I have lived in Foxboro for over 17 years now. We have 2 sons, Jack, a senior at Foxboro High School, and Sam, who is a sophomore at Foxboro. As I've said many times, one of the main reasons Bill and I chose Foxboro as a community where we would raise our family was the excellent school system. And as our sons have progressed from elementary to middle and high school, we have not been disappointed. My tenure on the school committee began in July 2012 when I was appointed to fill a vacant seat on the committee by a joint session of the Board of Selectmen and the school committee. I then ran in 2013 for election to the school committee for the remaining 2 years of that term, and in 2015, I was reelected to a 3-year term. It has been my distinct honor and pleasure to serve the town of Foxboro in this capacity for the past 6 years. I'm running for reelection to a 3-year school committee term. You have my promise that if reelected, I will continue to provide strong leadership and to work diligently for the ongoing improvement of our school system. As a school committee member, I've served as chair 1 year and as vice chair for times. I'm currently the school committee representative to the school building committee. I'm also on the budget subcommittee. Prior to that, I was on the policy subcommittee for 4 years. I've participated in contract negotiations with our teachers and educational assistants unions through 2 separate negotiation cycles. In addition, I served as the school committee representative to the strategic planning working group and participated in the screening committees for both the director of special education and for our new assistant superintendent. I believe my experience in all of these areas is an asset to the school committee. Prior to my appointment to the school committee, I served on the advisory committee from 2009 to 2012 and was one of the liaisons to the school department all 3 years. My time on the advisory committee provided an in-depth education on our town finances, particularly the school department budget. As far as my educational and professional background, I'm a Stonehill College graduate, and I graduated from George Mason University School of Law in 1994. After passing the bar exam, I practiced government contracts law and construction litigation in Virginia for several years. My education and legal background have been very beneficial to me in my work on behalf of the town of Foxboro and as a school committee member. I feel fortunate to be part of the Foxboro community and hope to continue my volunteer work for the good of our schools and our town. My experience on both the advisory committee and the school committee has shown me that one of the greatest ongoing challenges facing the school committee is to develop a budget that meets the needs of all students, encourages excellence at all levels, and also recognizes the necessary balance between the needs of the schools and the municipal needs of the town. I'm proud to have participated in this process for many years, and I look forward to continuing this work in the future. And I ran over. I'm very sorry.
That wasn't by much. Thank you, Ms.
Thank
Bellinger. I apologize.
That's
apologize.
okay. It
I'm
happens
mushmouth tonight.
all
so.
the time, Sophia. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Nancy, you're free to go for your 3 minutes. Begin when you're ready.
Great, thank you. First of all, I'd like to thank Foxboro Cable Access and the Foxboro Jaycees for all you do, and to all the volunteers, thank you. My name is Nancy Morrison, and I'm a candidate for school committee. I was born in the city of Boston and went to high school in the town of Dedham. I've lived in Foxboro for 20 years. I have 2 beautiful daughters, one finishing her freshman year at UMass Amherst and a sophomore at Foxboro High School. Both are products of Foxboro's outstanding and gold medal winning music program. Finding the time to give back to my community has always been a priority for me. And after having worked full-time for 30 years, I'm now ready for the next level of responsibility, which is to be elected to the school committee if I'm so lucky. Most of my adult life, I've been an advocate for and participant in various volunteer programs. My very first experience at age 22 with volunteer work was at a child abuse center in Braintree. I committed to 1 year working with a young mother who lived in public housing and had small children. From this experience, I learned how families face many different obstacles. Some years ago, while attending Northeastern University, I volunteered for the Literacy Volunteers of America in Quincy, teaching an older adult student how to read and write. I taught him 2 hours a week for 5 years, which was an amazing experience for me. I served as the president of the PTO at the Taylor School and was committed to serving the students, parents, and teachers and making sure we coordinated the best opportunities and programs for the children of our Taylor community. I served on the committee for the American Cancer Society Relay for Life, which takes place here in Foxboro every year at the Ahern Field. I was engaged for a number of years in making sure this event was a success as I gained experience working with people in our community who share the same dedication. Currently, I attend the Foxboro Music Association monthly meetings and volunteer at various concerts and events. This year, I wrote 2 grant applications for the Music Association, which resulted in success. I've been a parent leader in various quarterly meetings initiated by our former school superintendent, Spinelli. I recently became a volunteer for the Meals on Wheels program in Foxboro, which I thoroughly enjoy. And for a short time, I was substitute teacher for all the schools in Foxboro. I enjoyed the students and often chat with the teachers, custodians, and kitchen staff in the various schools about the daily issues inside and outside the classroom. I have a new admiration for the teachers and staff in this town. It was a reminder of why my husband and I chose Foxboro to raise our children. As a school committee member, I know I can be the voice for our community. As Winston Churchill once said, I have nothing to offer but blood, toil, tears, and sweat. Change is always a good thing. I'd appreciate your vote on May 7th. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. Very good. Okay, We are ready to begin our round of questioning now for the school committee candidates. Once more, the rules are each candidate will have 2 minutes to respond to the question, at which time the journalist may ask a follow-up question, and then you have 1 minute response time to that follow-up. Each journalist will ask a pair of questions this evening. Alexandra, through a random flip, you can go first, and you'll be asking the first question to Tina.
Great, thank you. And I just want to thank the Foxboro Jaycees and Cable Access for putting on this great forum. So my first question is, the Foxboro Regional Charter School marks its 20th anniversary this year. In your opinion, are there any opportunities for the two districts to work together on occasion in sharing resources or programming?
That's an interesting question. I mean, we really haven't partnered in many ways. A lot of our kids have overlap. Our Foxboro students that go to the regional charter school are in, I know we have Boy Scouts in our scout troop who go to the charter school, so the kids work together outside of the school, but we have not at this time really looked into partnering on programs with the charter school. They have their own philosophy and their own mission to fulfill, and we do ours. So that's an interesting question, though. Interesting thought.
No follow-up.
No, well, after that, okay, Nancy, you'll be allowed to answer the same question. Would you please repeat it?
Yep. So the Foxboro Regional Charter School is marking its 20th anniversary this year. Are there any opportunities, in your opinion, for the two districts to work together in sharing resources or programming?
There's always opportunities if once it's looked into, and apparently it hasn't really been looked into. But sure, if the two can get together and talk about things over the next several years or next few months, that could be an opportunity. But it hasn't really been explored right now, I guess.
Okay. Our next question will start with Nancy, and Dan, you can go ahead and ask.
Sure. At next month's town meeting, voters will be asked to approve on the funding to complete the second phase of Sam Burns Field. This will add bleachers, track, and a press box, among other things, to the current turf field. Is this a project that voters should approve at this time?
I know it's been in discussion for a while. It's been one of those difficult discussions and back and forth, and there's many different opinions on it. If they feel it's ready to be on the ballot to be voted on, then it should be voted on. I think a lot of discussion has happened about it, and maybe we should, move forward and get the project completed. So yeah, we should vote on it.
Okay. Do you want the same
All right,
question?
same question for
Same
Tina?
question? I just was waiting to see if there was a follow-up. Yeah, I have supported this project, since its inception. One of the very first votes I had to take as a school committee member back in 2012 concerned the turf field and repurposing, bringing to a fall town meeting the question of whether to use money from the high school renovation project as the original phase one of the high school athletic complex. We are now, it's really kind of phase three, because we did have funding for the concession stand. We raised $25,000 in fundraising, and then we were, through the capital request last year, awarded $75,000 for the concession stand. That's going to begin this summer. And now this is the third phase, and we're putting forward the completion of the high school athletic complex with the 8-lane track, the bleachers, and the press box. And with this, it would complete our high school campus. We relocated the baseball fields to the back of the high school. They're in great, well, they're not in great shape with the weather right now, but it's a great complex back there with the baseball and softball fields. And this last phase would really bring our whole campus together. And I'm very happy that the Board of Selectmen recommended that it be put on the town warrant, and I hope that the town will support this project. I think it is worthwhile from a safety perspective, and also will benefit our students for many years to come.
All right, thank you both.
Any follow-up, Puddles? No? We're
Yeah, I
good
guess
there?
I do have a follow-up for that.
Yeah.
And you look at the project, it's just one of the capital improvements that's happening around town between that, and you also have the Borough School renovation. I was wondering, and do you see anything else in the school district which is kind of next on that to-do list?
Me or Nancy
and-
first?
Yeah, we'll go to Tina first then.
Well, I mean, you are always going to have ongoing projects. Probably the next school that will need to be addressed is the Taylor School, but it does not require the level of renovation that the Borough School project does. The Borough School really needs an entire renovation to bring it up to code and to address many deficiencies in the current design. The Taylor School got a new roof recently, fairly recently, within the last 10 or 12 years, has had asbestos abatement in the floors, has a new generator, I believe had a new boiler put in, has had paving in the parking lots. There's been a lot done to the Taylor School, it's new ceilings over the last 10 years, so that the needs coming up there will not be as great as that of the Borough School project.
And Nancy, would you like to respond to the follow-up too?
I agree. Taylor School, I believe, is next to be looked at. Also, after speaking to some people in the transportation area over by the town garage where the buses are kept, apparently there's some issues over there that, after speaking to some people about that, that's been an issue in the past. And it's a current issue that they would like to have addressed. I don't know how big the project would be or the cost, but it's something, maybe we could look at in the near future.
Thank you.
Okay, great. So, we could probably fit in some more questions. Do you have anything else for the candidates? Those went relatively quickly. So
Yes.
Alexander, next question, and we'll go to Nancy.
Great. So what do you think is the biggest issue facing Foxborough students today, and how would you address it if reelected?
So Nancy, you can take this one, start. If you want to repeat the question.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
What do you think is the biggest issue facing Foxborough students today, and how would you address it if elected?
The biggest issue. Well, I know Foxborough's been great. We've added some more AP courses. We've added, along the lines, with the college and things like that. I mean, I have many ideas that I've thought about over the last couple of years. And again, we have to address the needs of all the students. And we as a community, we have to make sure that all the students are adjusted and are ready to move on after graduation. And my concern and my thoughts have been about students that may want to try skilled labor. There's going to be a need out there over the next 5 to 10 years. And that's one thing that maybe we could look at as maybe an elective, along with the, college preparation. There's also the kids that just are not ready for that or don't want that, and there's skilled labor out there that there's going to be a need for. So that's, want to make well-rounded students and want them prepared for the real world.
Same question.
I'm going to ask you to repeat the question,
Yeah, I'm
so I
sorry.
make
Yeah,
sure I
please
get
repeat the
all.
question. Sorry.
Sorry, I'm jumping in on your job now,
No, please do.
Sophia.
I was sitting here just doodling.
That's okay.
I mean, writing notes.
What do you think is the biggest issue facing Foxborough students today, and how would you address it if reelected?
That's a good question. I really think, and we're seeing this from the elementary school all the way to our 12th graders, that the social and emotional well-being of our students and the complexity of the society that they're faced with is the greatest challenge to our students, supporting them in every capacity, both with guidance services and making sure our teachers are trained to recognize signs of bullying, anxiety, and address the different needs at all different levels throughout the school system. I think, even in the last 5 years, you see, when my kids were in elementary school, kids didn't have cell phones. Now, our 2nd, 3rd, and 4th graders have cell phones, and with that, they have all the challenges that having that kind of technology brings. So we're having to teach our kids to be good digital citizens from a very early time in their education. I think that's the most difficult challenge we face, and we will continue to put resources to making sure our kids have the social and emotional support to get through their school day and to be good students.
Okay, thanks. Do you have any follow-up, Alexandra?
I'm good.
Okay, and final question will come from Dan, and Dan will ask Tina first.
Yeah, this will go to both candidates. On January 1st, we said goodbye to Superintendent Deborah Spinelli, and we said hello to Amy Berdos. I would like to know what you have thought of the transition and how you would rate her on job. How you would rate on how she's done her job since her promotion.
It's a great question, and I'm going to say I think the transition's been very smooth. Dr. Berdos is doing an excellent job. She really spent 7 years training in-house, and we were very happy. We had no doubt in our mind when we chose her to be the next superintendent. We did not feel the need to go to an outside search because we had the perfect person for our district in Amy Berdos. And frankly, I haven't heard a single person criticize the transition. I know our staff is very happy with the transition. Dr. Allison Mello is our new assistant superintendent, and the two, Allison was the K-8 curriculum director for science and math, and she has stepped into her new position seamlessly, and things seem to be going along quite well. I think the toughest challenge Dr. Berdos has faced is the weather in March, and she's had to make some tough decisions regarding snow days, so that's never easy. But I think it's gone very well. We're very, very lucky to have Dr. Berdos. Good question, though. Thank you.
I echo the same thoughts as Tina. I haven't really heard any complaints. I think she's done a great job from a parent point of view. I've been to one of the quarterly meetings, as I've stated before, that Superintendent Spinelli began. I try to go to those quarterly meetings, and the one I went to was very informative. It was a great discussion about what's going on at the Borough School and all that huge project. Very informative. The emails and keeping parents posted, especially with the weather the way it's been. I don't have any complaints. I think the transition went fantastic. And we're just waiting to see what the future holds. Hopefully all good things.
Okay, any follow-up?
No follow-ups.
Okay.
All right, great, thanks. Any other burning questions you want to ask? We have a little bit more time. One more for each.
I have one.
Last one. I snuck one in there for you. Go ahead, Alexandra, please.
If you had the opportunity to address the members of the class of 2018 at commencement in June, what would be your advice to them?
Oh, that's a good question. Nancy, you want to go first?
Am I first?
Sure.
Let's see. Well, I'll tell you, the commencement speech of the president of my daughter's class last year was fantastic. And I would probably want, to tell these kids the same thing. The message was, he asked everybody in the audience to raise their hands, and then he said, now try to raise them further, raise them higher. And it was a metaphor as to, future. You think you're doing more, some things now, try to do more. And if you think you've done more, try to do some more. And I think it was a fantastic message to the kids in the class. The sky's the limit. So if you think you've done enough, you can always do more. And I think it was a great message. And I'd like to, tell the kids of this class the same message. I think it was a fantastic job he did. And my kids and I still talk about what a great message it was.
Reach for the stars. Okay, Tina, go ahead.
Well,
Your
first,
final question?
I have to agree with Nancy that Andre's speech was phenomenal last year. It really was. But I also think that if I were given the opportunity to address this year's class, and I have a graduate in this year's class, I had to say that. It's so exciting. It goes so fast. I would tell the kids that people don't remember, how many degrees you have or what job you have, but they always remember how you treat them. And that the most important thing is to go out in the world and be kind to others. I tell my kids when they leave the house, make someone smile today. And that's, to me, the most important message. I mean, it is absolutely important to reach for the stars, but you don't want to step on somebody while you're doing it.
Very good. All right, we good? Any follow-ups? We're
Yeah,
good?
no follow-ups.
All right, excellent. You guys are off the hook. Almost. Oh my goodness, I'm not doing well tonight. We would now like to close out the segment by giving the candidates for school committee an opportunity to make their closing statements. Even more talking. You guys love it. So we're going to do the reversal here, Nancy. So
Okay,
we're going to start with you.
great.
You have 2 minutes for your closing statement. You may begin when ready.
Again, my name's Nancy Morrison. It's been a pleasure to meet everyone here to speak to Foxborough residents out there in TV land. I'm completely out of my comfort zone when it comes to campaigning, and I'm not used to asking for things. I consider myself an open and honest person and very welcoming to ideas or comments, good or bad. Simply put, if you like the status quo, I can promise you will be unhappy with me. If you want change, responsible stewardship, and accountability, you'll be very happy to have voted for me. I hope you liked what you heard here today and get out and vote on May 7th and attend the town meeting on May 14th. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Tina, go ahead. 2 minutes.
Okay, thank you. I would like to again thank the Foxboro Jaycees and Foxboro Cable Access for providing this forum for the candidates to introduce ourselves and for the community to learn a bit more about who we are. I'd also like to thank Dan and Alex for their great questions. And I'd also like to thank those at home watching tonight for your attention and your desire to make an educated voting decision on May 7th. This week, April 15th to the 21st, is National Volunteer Week, so it is truly fitting to have Candidates Night tonight. I will conclude with a quote I saw yesterday on the Foxboro Lions Club page on Facebook, so I'll thank Tom Barry for this one. Volunteers do not necessarily have the time, they just have the heart. I know I have the heart to work hard for our Foxboro students, and I will make the time to do my best if I'm reelected to the Foxboro School Committee. I hope that tonight's presentation has provided you with insight into who I am, someone who cares deeply about our town and our schools, someone who is willing to put the time, energy, and effort in every day to ensure our schools continue to thrive and to demand excellence at all levels for all students. Someone who has the knowledge and the experience necessary to get the job done. When you go to the polls on May 7th, I hope you will cast your vote for me, Tina Bellinger, for school committee. Thank you.
Okay, thank you both. It's been great having you here. Really appreciate it. We'll now take a short break. Let everyone shift around, and when we return, we will have the candidates for Board of Selectmen take questions. So thank you all, and let's go to break. We begin with the Q&A session. We want to take this opportunity to mention the other candidates who could not be here tonight, who are also running but in uncontested races on the May 7th ballot. They are Michael P. Stanton, who is running unopposed as candidate for re-election to the Water and Sewer Commission for a term of 3 years. Tracy Vasile, who is running unopposed as candidate for re-election to the Planning Board for a term of 3 years. Kevin B. Weinfeld, who was running unopposed as candidate for re-election to the Planning Board for a term of 3 years. Lori A. Rudd, who is running unopposed as candidate to join the Board of Assessors for a term of 3 years. Colin H. Ernst, who is running unopposed as a candidate for re-election as Boyden Library trustee for a term of 3 years, and Deborah O. Stone, I don't think that's she's pronounced it, Deborah O. Stone, who is running unopposed as candidate for re-election as Boyden Library trustee for a term of 3 years. Okay, I think that got us enough time to seat the 3 candidates for Board of Selectmen here. Present are 2 incumbents and 1 new challenger. We are pleased to welcome Virginia Ginny Coppola, Leah Gibson, and Christopher Mitchell. Thank you all for being here. All right, Q&A, here we come. But first, each candidate has a chance to open with a 3-minute opening statement. Sorry, the prompter's up. Doesn't matter. We independently did a drawing before everyone showed up, and Leah drew first, so she's going to go with her opening statement, then followed by Chris, and finally with Ginny. So, Leah, when you're ready, whenever you're ready, 3-minute opening statement.
All right, great. Of course, by luck of the draw,
the new person
has to go
goes
first, right? So
you could have contested it, I guess, is what I'm saying.
My name is Leah Gibson, and I'm excited to be running for the Foxboro Board of Selectmen in the town election on Monday, May 7th. I'm a longtime Foxboro resident who's passionate about the community and volunteerism. I have 2 children currently attending the Taylor School. My daughter's in the 3rd grade, and my son is in the 1st. For the past 2 years, I have served on the board of the Taylor School PTO. I'm currently serving as the president, wrapping up that term at the end of the school year. I co-chaired the 2016 BIT auction, which supports programs and enrichment for the 3 elementary schools in town. My daughter and I enjoy Girl Scouts. I've been a troop leader since she was in kindergarten in 2014. Proud to say it's a troop of 3 full-time working mothers. So I've made some great friends. My daughter's made some great friends. And Girl Scouts has really been a rewarding experience. I'm an active member of the Foxboro YMCA. I have met so many wonderful community members through the YMCA, and I'm proud to serve on the Foxboro branch's leadership committee for the Reach Out for Youth campaign. I'm a graduate of Bentley University and have been employed with Mercer, which is formerly Putnam Investments, for the past 16 years. Mercer is a global consulting firm, a leader in talent, health, retirement, and investments. So in my role, I'm a strategic proposal consultant, working on proposals, project management of new global consulting pursuits. For 5 years, I was the co-chair of the Women at Mercer Business Resource Group in our Norwood, Massachusetts office. And I'm currently a member of the National Association of Realtors. So I've been a part-time real estate agent as well since 2004. So my extensive business background, my project management skills, my financial acumen, my real estate knowledge, my volunteer background, and my love for this town give me a perfect mix of skills to be the next member of the Board of Selectmen. I love this town. I'm passionate about the future success of the downtown revitalization project, smart development, and responsible spending. I'm out in this community every single day, whether it's at a school events like the Spring Fling, a baseball game at Booth 1, a show at the Orpheum Theater, or a class at the YMCA. I'm completely approachable and can be trusted to have a non-biased, level-headed approach to making decisions that impact the future of our town. I believe in the success of Foxboro and would like the opportunity to be involved in future decision-making. I ask for you to vote for me on Monday, May 7th, and attend the town meeting on the 14th.
Thank you, Leah. Chris, you're up next. 3 minutes.
Thank you. I want to thank the Jaycees and Foxboro Cable Access for continuing with this great tradition of hosting Candidates Night each year. I would also like to thank both the groups, the Jaycees and Foxboro Cable Access, for everything they do for the community. It's amazing what you guys do. Again, too, I'd like to thank all of the candidates that are running for every single seat for stepping up, volunteering for this great town of Foxboro. And I'd also like to thank Dan and Alex for coming here tonight. So my name is Chris Mitchell, and I'm running for re-election on the Board of Selectmen in the upcoming town election on May 7th. I've lived in Foxboro for the past 29 years. My wife Paula is a lifelong resident. We have 4 children that have all gone through the Foxboro Public Schools and are all very successful in their lives. I'm currently the Director of Development and Community Engagement for Homes for Our Troops. It's a privately funded 501c3 nonprofit organization My current role there, I lead a team of 23 nonprofit professionals that are responsible for raising $30 million a year through private and corporate donations, allowing us to build and donate custom-built accessible homes throughout the country to our nation's most severely injured post 9/11 veterans. Community service and volunteering has always been a huge part of my life, and I'm very, very fortunate to find a career where I'm able to utilize my passion for community service and helping others. We as a board have accomplished a lot in the past 3 years. We are starting to implement the master plan with the downtown area and the revitalization. The sewer is running through the center of town, and it is an opportunity to totally revitalize the downtown area and bring in new revenue to the town. In addition, with the proposed zoning changes to Route 1, it'll allow for the development opportunities and revenue growth for the town. All this will allow us to keep investing in our schools and help us maintain the great property values that we have. We need to look at all of this development with an open mind and do what is best for the town to continue to grow while keeping the small town feel of Foxboro and still maintaining its great character. I feel it is the job of the Board of Selectmen to set policy and strategic direction in the best interest of the community. Also, we need to seriously take a look at a lot of other things, one of them being the increasing number of our senior population, making sure we have the ways and means to allow them to continue to call Foxboro home. We also need to do what we can to provide safe and affordable housing for them. I will continue to bring a good balance of leadership, teamwork, and community pride to the Board of Selectmen, and I'm looking forward to the next 3 years on the board. It is my hope that on May 7th, I will once again inspire you to come out and vote for me like you all did in 2015. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Chris. And Ginny, your 3 minutes whenever you are ready. Please begin.
Thank you. Good evening. Thank you to the Foxboro Jaycees and Foxboro Cable Access, Alexander and Dan, for providing an opportunity for the citizens of Foxboro to meet the candidates on the May 7th town election ballot. My name is Virginia Ginny Coppola, and I'm running for re-election for the position of Selectman. You might ask, why am I running for a third term? I'm running because I believe that there is a lot more that I can contribute to the Board of Selectmen and to the town of Foxboro. Also, people ask me to run again. They ask me to run because they like what I've done on the board in the past, the board is working well together, and they value my experience, work ethic, and dedication to the town. What a difference 6 years has made. When I was first elected in 2012, the town of Foxboro was embroiled in a very divisive issue that ended by itself even before I had the opportunity to sit at my first selectmen's meeting. But there were other issues at hand, the most important being an out-of-control town manager who just had to be replaced. It took a while, but the Board of Selectmen finally settled on William Keegan, who, along with the new Assistant Town Manager, Human Resources Director, new Town Council, and new Special Counsel for Liquor License Issues, brought a refreshing air of professionalism to the Town Hall. My second term brought a new Town Hall, new Police Chief, the implementation of the town's master plan with the creation of the Economic Development Committee, the completion of the Mansfield-Foxboro-Norton Sewage Treatment Plant, the establishment of economic development zones throughout the town, and the groundwork for the development of the Route 1 corridor and the downtown business nodes. Because of these steps taken by the Board of Selectmen since 2015, the next 3 years will bring about a robust development of Route 1 and the vibrant rebirth of the downtown. As a longtime resident of Foxboro, I came to the Board of Selectmen with volunteer experience and government experience. But I believe that my 4 years on the advisory committee, my time as state representative, and my 6 years on the Board of Selectmen have most prepared me to understand and deal with the issues and decisions facing the Board of Selectmen in the community today and in the future. I am ready for the challenges ahead. Decision-making is a function of the Board of Selectmen, and I'm not afraid to make decisions because I base them on research, questions, and more questions. I am seeking re-election because I want to continue to participate in the governance of this town. And because of the decisions I have made as selectman over the last 6 years, I do believe that the town is better off today than it was 6 years ago. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all. Good openings. And now let's begin the Q&A. I'm just going to remind you all the rules. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to respond to a question, at which point, which time the journalist may ask a follow-up question, and then the candidate will then have 1 minute for the follow-up. If no follow-up is made, we'll just continue on. And we're going to ask everyone probably 3 questions tonight. Everyone comfortable with that? Are you guys comfortable with that? Because you guys have to supply the questions. All right. So we're ready to go. Dan will open first, and we'll start with Ginny.
Okay, excellent. First, I'd like to thank all the candidates for being here tonight. You know, it takes a lot to do volunteer work, and I think it's admirable that you all want to help out and be on the board. My first question is about downtown. Since the opening of the Orpheum, we now have residents at the Common again past 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And now my question is, what is the next step for that downtown development?
Well, the next step would be the development of the fire station funeral home area. That will be going out for requests for proposals in the spring, just at the same time that the sewage lines will be completed. And what's important about the sewage lines is that it makes the area better for development, and people there'll be more interest. But it's nice, and that's just the kickoff of the downtown development. But we also have O'Reilly's autos parts stores going into the old Aubuchon, and we also have a new Italian restaurant that will be opening in the old American Legion building. So there's a lot going on, and a lot will be going on, but I think the real kickoff to the downtown development was when we do something with the old fire station, the funeral home, and perhaps other commercial residential area developments along the common.
Okay. Same question to Chris.
Again, having the Orpheum up and running and so vibrant has been phenomenal over the last 6 months or so. It's really great to see so many people engaged. They have been great to the community, allowing access to the facility, so that's great. I agree with Ginny. Once we finalize what's going to happen with the old fire station and the funeral home, that will kind of spearhead the development. It was sad to see Aubuchon's leave. That was a staple in the community for, I think the sign said 60 years, and so very sad to see that leave. With O'Reilly's coming in, it'll kind of give a fresh look to the common area, and hopefully the rest of the downtown businesses will kind of start sprucing things up. I know we've put a lot of time and effort into putting planters up around the common. There's hanging baskets going up, so the center is looking really good. So again, looking forward to what's going to happen there. And the sewer is vital. We couldn't do any development there without the sewer. And it'll also help the neighbors behind the downtown that were in critical need to have sewerage.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Leah?
All right, great. So being from town and growing up here, there's nothing that warms my heart more than walking into the Orpheum and, seeing the children perform on stage, or, Caitlin Brightman's performance that was put on. And I think that the opening of the Orpheum is really a catalyst to all that is to come downtown. The fire station's great, O'Reilly's great, but there's a lot of more empty storefronts that need to be filled. So I know firsthand, I've tried to rent out those spaces, and it can be tough. So we need to find businesses that are going to come in, that are going to settle, and then we as a community need to make sure to go out of our way to support those businesses. So I don't think that there's any one particular building that's going to be the magic equation for the downtown. It's really the whole community coming together to fill up all the storefronts, support the businesses, the new picnic tables that are going in on the common. I think a lot of people are excited about those. I know the kids get excited about going up there and having a picnic, so what greater thing than to be able to, walk to the library, have a picnic, visit one of the restaurants.
Great. Okay. Everyone's vision was just, I was just here seeing it all in my mind, and it all sounds great, guys. I hope it all comes to fruition. Any follow-up, Dan?
Yes, fine. For the fire station, do you think it should be a tear down or renovation?
Excuse me, the building is in such poor condition that it would really have to be a tear down. And the whole idea of selling off the fire station and the funeral home is to level that whole area and build like a commercial residential complex. So the fire definitely the buildings have to go down.
It was the recommendation of our building inspector, Bill Casbara. That's what he thought. I think ultimately it comes up to whoever ends up purchasing it. They own it. They can do as they fit as long as it meets all the safety requirements.
Leah?
Yeah, driving by that building in particular, the funeral home, there's no question that it would probably be almost impossible for someone to try to renovate that building and make the numbers work and make it a safe place. So, I agree that it's really up to the developer, and we, as the Board of Selectmen and the town, need to be supportive to get something up there that works, and, that we have someone that wants to take on a project like that while still maintaining the look and feel of the downtown.
Great, thank you all. Alexander will ask the next question, and we're going to start with Chris this time.
So on that note, what do you think is the appropriate balance between promoting tax-generating development and preserving historical sites?
It's a very good question. You need you need to definitely balance that. Is the fire station historical? It's been there for a while. You definitely need to revitalize the downtown, get people living downtown that can walk to these restaurants or walk to the Orpheum. So it's a delicate balance. You always want to try to preserve something of historical stature.
Okay, same question, Leah?
Can you just repeat the question again?
Of course. What is the appropriate balance between promoting tax-generating development and preserving historical sites?
Sure. So obviously you can't have one without the other. You need a balance, and finding that right balance is the tough piece. I think that we are lucky to live in a town that's a small town with big revenue opportunity. So we need to be smart about how we seize those opportunities, not only in the downtown, but the Route 1 corridor, the stadium. There's just so much potential here that our neighbors look at us and, so many other towns around us would like to have that type of opportunity. So I think that we're in a lucky position to be able to balance that.
Thank you. And Ginny, same question if you need it repeated.
Yeah, it's nice to have a balance. However, when you own an historic property, it's a responsibility, and it's a responsibility to keep the property in good shape. So I think it's incumbent upon people who do own historic properties to maintain them. However, if you don't maintain them, or and you own the property, then a decision has to be made whether what to do. So I think, it's nice to be able to say that the town of Foxboro has a lot of historic homes, but they have to be in decent shape. And you have to remember that the person who owns the property has a right to do what they want with the property according to the rules and regulations of the town. So, like I said, it's nice to have a balance, but it's a responsibility to the homeowner to maintain the historic character of their properties. So, it's a tough decision. No one likes to see an historic home or building torn down, but sometimes that's the only thing you can do with it.
Okay, any follow-up?
No problem.
Okay, very good, thanks. Next order, I'll just surprise everybody in the control room. Okay, Dan, you get the next question, and first up, you can ask Leah.
Okay, I'm going to keep the business team going and ask about the proposed zoning changes on Route 1. At town meeting, voters will be asked to vote on these changes, which would make uses like on research and development facilities, on hotels, retail, by right instead of special permits. Do you believe that the voters should approve these changes?
Sure. I mean, looking at some of those bylaws and regulations, they're old, they're dated, things have changed. So I think, I'm glad that it's going out to the town to vote, because it's important to get the town's input on that. And I do support those changes that are being proposed.
Okay, thank
Okay,
you.
thanks. And we'll go to Ginny next. Same question, if you could repeat the question, please.
Yeah, could you?
Sure. And do you think that voters should vote to pass the proposed bylaw changes for the Route 1 corridor?
Yeah. Those bylaws, it's very comprehensive change, the revisions. The revisions were done with the Economic Development Committee, working with the Route 1 businessmen and the Planning Board and the Zoning Board of Appeals. The original zoning was probably made like 25 years ago. And the idea of that zoning was they didn't want that area of Route 1 to look like Route 1 in Saugus, if people remember what Route 1 in Saugus looks like. A lot of strip malls, you know, they didn't want that. So they put those zoning laws in. However, things have changed. And the changes that they've made will allow the landowners to cooperatively, in some instances, build, develop that area. It's a lot. There's a lot of changes in that one zoning, in that one warrant article. I've attended planning board. I've attended the presentation 4 times. And I've had meetings with Kevin Weinfeld and Paige Duncan and Barney Over when I had questions about the zoning, because there were some questions. But I was satisfied with what they told me, the reasons for it, and how it will all work together in the end. So I'm very supportive of it. The master plan wanted the Route 1 area to be the economic engine of the town of Foxboro, and I do believe that these zoning changes will do that.
Okay. And Chris?
Yeah, I'm glad it's on the warrant. I think it's definitely needed. Like Ginny said, it was 20, 25 years ago when those got implemented. Times do change. You know, we have the MBTA pilot program that's going to go into effect in a year or so up there. It's a great opportunity for the town of Foxboro to generate a lot of revenue. So I hope it passes.
Okay. Thank you all. Dan, you have any follow-up for any?
The MBTA comment actually leads into my follow-up. Does that commuter rail line need to be there for business development to thrive?
Does it go to me?
And to all three?
All three, we'll start. Yeah, we'll start.
So
We'll
start
start
with
with
it.
last, so we'll start with you.
I think it definitely helps. There was a lot of debate over that. Schneider Electric weighed into with the reverse commute. And it's a way to get professionals, if they do any kind of medical research there or anything, get the people from Boston out to work here, get people to support the existing businesses downtown and whatever else goes in with this new zoning change. So I think the MBTA pilot program will help both ways, going into Boston and people coming here.
Okay. Leah, you want to take the follow-up? Do you recall?
Sure. So I think that the pilot program will not only support the economic development of Route 1, but also help get people out into the businesses down here. People may take the train down to Patriot Place, to a doctor's appointment. It will also potentially help home values. So I know I have to commute into Boston every now and then, and it's a nightmare. Where am I going to park? What train am I going to take in? So there's nothing that would excite me more than being able to drive down there, get a parking spot, and go into Boston. So yes, Dan, it will help the Route 1 corridor, and it will help the town in many other ways. And I'm confident that we can do it in a way that's respectful of neighbors and everyone else that has skin in the game.
Thank you. Ginny, same question, 1 minute.
Yeah, well, the pilot program that'll start in 2019 will determine whether it is a successful project. And, we'll find out whether people do park there, the 500 spaces, whether they do take the train into Boston, into South Station, and whether people come out to reverse commute. So really, until the pilot program is completed and judged you really, then we'll know how successful it will be.
Okay, thank you all, very good. We have Alexander's second question. So we'll start this time with, where am I? Oh my God, we'll start with Ginny. Thank you.
Great.
2 minutes.
So some residents have been upset recently by the number of power failures in town. What do you think is the solution to the outages?
Well, at the Board of Selectmen, we had the National Grid came and spoke and explained what their program was, you know, and then there were some people in the audience who did have questions. I think one of the things that was talked about was complete tree clearing. I guess they call it from
Ground to sky.
Ground to sky, thank you. And that's something that Foxboro doesn't do right now, but that's something that the Board of Selectmen will be discussing. Also, it was talked about a power plant in the town of Foxboro. And that's something that has come up before. I mean, it's a very involved process. But I think if people are really determined that they really want to go to that, then you'd have to do a study. And I would encourage a study on it if that's the direction that people want to go. But I think mainly, taking the trees down in the way that town of Mansfield does, I think that will go a long way into solving the problems of the power outages.
Great.
Okay, same question for Chris. Do you need to repeat it?
Yeah, I think we've improved a lot since 2011 when everything first surfaced. They've, they were at our meeting the other night. They've invested $20 million into the Union Loop since then. So a lot of those issues that happened in the past are somewhat cleared up. The ground to sky clearing is definitely something we will discuss as a board. It seems like there's a lot of interest from residents. It's going to be a big change to, the communities of Foxboro. I mean, I live on a rural road, and 10 feet from the road, you're going to lose a lot of trees. But if it helps to keep the power on, I'm all for it. The substation that they were talking about, I think we should definitely go towards that. And then, we'll get a look at the priority list that Chief Hatfield has and make sure the priorities are right. But I think they've definitely come a long way.
Okay, and sorry, thank you, Leah.
Sure, and
You have, you have
we're
2
lucky
minutes.
enough now, since the meetings are televised, I had the opportunity to watch it from Myrtle Beach when I was on vacation with my family last week. Training my son early, he wanted to watch it with me as well. But I think that the sky to ground clearing is really the first and easiest step. Just the fact that a squirrel who put 2 legs on a wire was able to take part of the town down, this weekend. If that tree wasn't there and it could jump over, really, we wouldn't have that problem. So that's step one. There's a lot that we need to do to work together, for the future maintenance. But then we also need to look at, what can we do in the event the power will go down. That's going to happen. But what can we do, generators for the seniors or things so that when the power is down, how can we react to it on the fly and make sure that, that babies and our seniors are warm.
Okay, thank
I
you
do
all. Any
have
follow-ups?
one
Yep,
follow-up.
please do.
So I know there was some concern about whether National Grid has enough local crews in town. Do you guys think that's something the Board of Selectmen should be advocating for, is more local crews and subcontractors?
We'll go in reverse order here. We'll actually pick up with the current board member. So Chris, you can take that first again.
Okay. I know from that last storm, there were a lot of crews. I was out Saturday morning with the deputy chiefs with the National Grid liaison. There were crews from Canada and Tennessee, and I think it's not up to the board. I mean, National Grid is their own entity, and I know they vie for crews when there's a storm. They try to get them into town early enough. And again, with that storm too, some of the trees that took the majority of the power down, I mean, were 80-foot pine trees that were uprooted, by Mother Nature. So, but they do their best. I was personally with them the night that they got the pole in to put Centennial Court back up at 8 o'clock on a Sunday night, so that was a good victory.
Okay. I'm trying to keep everyone in a correct order here, but we'll go with Leah next. You need the question repeated? It's one
Yeah, so I believe that the closest crew, what they said was in Hopedale, and Hopedale, it can be 20 minutes. So it would be nice to see a crew closer, for the South Shore. I don't know how viable that is with National Grid, but it's certainly something we can advocate for and see what can be done to have crews down here closer that can react faster in the event of these outages.
Okay. Ginny, if you'd
Well,
like to answer the same question.
Hopedale is the National Grid headquarters for this area, so that's their main staging area for the entire area. At times, they mentioned the other night, at times they brought crews down and staged them at Gillette Stadium. So when they feel that it's needed, they do bring extra crews in. And really, when you think of it, I mean, a lot of the town was out of power for maybe 2 days. There were some communities that were out for 5-6 days. I mean, I think they did a really good job. I think they're very responsive, and they're very responsive when Miss Reed came to the meeting the other night. And she made a good presentation and explained what the program's been, all the money they have spent, what they've done, and why. And so I thought it was a good presentation, and I think, wrap it up.
Well, you ended on a happy, positive note there. Okay, thanks for that one. Next, Dan, you got your next question, and the first question will go to Leah again.
Okay. I think we've hit a lot of the big issues tonight between downtown development and National Grid. But I was wondering, what do you think is an issue in town that deserves more attention and kind of is under the radar?
Sure. So, I mean, in this town, I don't know how much is under the radar, but, I guess getting back to the seniors, we do a great job at taking care of our kids, and our school committee budget is big, and, we do a lot there, but, they're another generation that needs us. So balancing those needs as well, particularly with, as I mentioned, Centennial Court, the housing down the end of Baker, some of that, is in need of repair, much like the schools. So I think that that's something that we need to keep a keen eye on in the next couple of years, because with all the spending, it's easy for stuff like that, to be pushed off, but that's something that we really do need to keep an eye on.
Okay, thank you. Ginny, sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry, Chris is next.
Okay.
I'm so sorry.
Dan, could you repeat the question?
Sure. What do you think is an issue in town that deserves more attention and is a bit under the radar?
I wouldn't say it's an issue, but one of the new things that we'll be voting on at the town meeting is the new CIP policy, where it will put actual Foxboro taxpayers on that board to discuss and vote on how the taxpayers spend the money. Currently, the way it is now, the bylaw is, the superintendent of schools is on it, the town manager is on it, and they're voting members to vote how we spend our money. And the current way it's set up, neither of those two are taxpayers in the town of Foxboro. So I think that's definitely critical to kind of keep that as taxpayers voting on how to spend their money. I think that probably one of the ones.
Okay, thank you. Ginny, 2 minutes.
I agree with Chris on the CIP. I was actually the selectman who was involved in that rewriting of the CIP. I agree with Leah about the housing. The Housing Authority has received land from the state off Walnut Street, and the proposal is to put out RFPs for housing, 90 bedrooms, not 90 bedrooms, not 90 units, but 90 bedrooms, some single bedroom, some double bedroom units for seniors. But also another thing is the ongoing water and sewer departments relining or replacing the water mains. I mean, a few years ago, we had the really bad problems with the black water. Those have lessened, but they still have old pipes that need to be replaced, or the new way of doing it is being relined. And that'll be, and we have the new well coming on. So those things are going on. You don't notice the water until your street is dug up and the pipes are being put in. But that's something that will be finished probably in the next couple of years.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
We're good? Okay, okay. Alex, your last question, and we'll start with Ginny. 2 minutes.
So, at the last couple town meetings, I know that voter turnout has been on the lower side. What can the town do to encourage engagement?
Every year, the town meeting population is low.
Mm-hmm.
What can you do about it? You need to, you want people to become engaged in their government. I mean, you put things out in the newspaper, people send things out on Facebook reminding people to come to town meeting. But people don't. And we have a quorum of 100. There have been times at the end of a town meeting, you can see from the stage how many people there. We barely have a quorum. Sometimes we don't have a quorum. And the only reason is that people, for some reason, don't feel that they owe it to the town to come out to town meeting. I mean, you see the same people at town meeting all the time. And it would be really refreshing to have a lot of new faces to come to town meeting. Because you know what? If you don't like the way town is run and you complain, I say to people, did you go to town meeting? Oh, no, I didn't go to town meeting. I never go to town meeting. Well, then you don't have a right to complain. If you don't want to voice your opinions at town meeting with your vote, you really shouldn't be complaining. So I encourage people to come to town meeting, but you can't drag them out. And that's the problem. They have to come on their own, for their own reasons.
Okay, thank you. Leah, same question.
Sure. So, Alex, when I started, campaigning and everything, one of the first things I did was I looked at all the voter totals, and I was absolutely shocked that 9.3% of registered voters in the town of Foxboro voted in last year's town election. So although the number of voters has gone up every year, aside from the casino year, I'll call it, we have strictly just declined. So I think I am that new face of getting, people with kids in school or people in their 20s, 30s, 40s who may not think they have to vote engaged. It's important, and it's important to get out there and vote, to go to town meeting, to, the Board of Selectmen meetings are televised. There's so many different ways you can engage now that it can really be right to each person's individual needs. So as Ginny said, don't sit back and complain, show up, engage, do something, get out and vote and change the statistics so that we don't have a single digit, voter turnout in the election on May 7th.
Very good, thank you. And final, Chris?
Yeah, I agree. I've been attending town meeting for the last 23 years since we bought our house. I may have missed one or two. And like Ginny said, it's the same people year after year. I know there's been talk about moving it to a Saturday, but that you're not going to win with everybody involved in sports. One thing I wouldn't mind seeing is, I know it starts at 7:30. Let's maybe try to start it at 7. Most of the other meetings in town start at 7. And there's a lot of times when things need to pass with a 2/3 vote, and sometimes they're close. And to Leah's point on townwide elections, we saw it the year that I won. The town clerk issue was decided by one vote, so every vote does matter. You need to vote in every single election that happens in your town. You should be attending town meeting and having a voice in your government.
Okay, thank you. Alex, any follow-up?
No follow-up.
All right. Okay, well, that was That was 3 apiece. Did that go by that fast? Right? You guys got 3 questions each? Everyone's all right. We got through it. Awesome. Well, I guess we can close up the Q&A session now. And we'd like to close the segment with the Board of Selectmen by giving candidates one last opportunity for a closing statement. I was going to just go reverse order of the beginning, but I feel like Chris was constantly in the middle. So we're going to start, I mean, not just visually, but just figuratively the whole night. So we're actually going to start with you, Chris. If you have a 2-minute closing statement you would like to read, you
I
can
won't
begin.
even use all 2 minutes.
Awesome. You can begin when ready.
Again, I want to thank everybody for tonight's event. I've enjoyed the past 3 years on the Board of Selectmen and look forward to 3 more. Please come out to vote on Monday, May 7th to re-elect me, Chris Mitchell, to the Foxboro Board of Selectmen, and also come out to the annual town meeting the following Monday, May 14th, at the high school and take an active role in your town government. Thank you all very much.
Okay, short and sweet. All right, and now Ginny, your final statement. Up to 2 minutes.
Okay. Once again, thank you to the Foxboro Jaycees, Foxboro Cable Access, Dan and Alexandra, for the town's annual Candidates Night. This evening, you have listened to the comments of 3 candidates vying for 2 seats on the Board of Selectmen. Your vote on May 7th will decide who will be sitting at the Selectmen's table. As the most experienced of all the Selectmen candidates, I am asking for your vote. During my time as Selectman, I have been fully engaged in the governance of Foxboro, regularly attending not only Selectmen's meetings, but also those of the Advisory Committee, Planning Board, and in the past, Water and Sewer Commissioners, to get greater knowledge of, a broader understanding of, the issues facing the town. I have been responsive to the concerns of the citizens of Foxboro and have acted as a liaison with groups of residents and town government officials in order to clarify issues and/or seek solutions to problems. It has been my pleasure to participate in official town events in addition to other unofficial town events when time permits. I have made decisions based on knowledge, investigation, and thought. My conduct is based on my Selectman philosophy, which is always do what is best for the town of Foxboro. Foxboro is my only agenda. I am accountable only to the citizens of Foxboro. I do no one's bidding. My decisions and actions are my own, and they are all for the betterment of this town. In 2012 and 2015, I took an oath to serve and protect the town of Foxboro with integrity, transparency, persistence, and hard work. I believe that I have fulfilled the promises, and I ask for your vote on May 7th to continue as your advocate on the Board of Selectmen. Thank you.
Thank you, Ginny. And finally, Leah, your 2 minutes. Please begin when you're ready.
Great. So I just wanted to thank Alex, Dan, Sophia, all the volunteers that are here tonight. And my closing really, I feel like my thunder was stolen a little bit on the voter engagement because that's what I wanted to talk about. So since turning in my papers to run for the Board of Selectmen, the amount of support I felt has been truly amazing. You can literally feel the energy and excitement of so many people in town about the potential of a fresh face on the Board of Selectmen. I'm grateful and thankful to each and every person who has reached out, donated to my campaign, held a sign on the common, has a sign in their yard, or simply has offered words of encouragement. But the momentum cannot stop here. It's clear to me the people of Foxborough want their voices to be heard. So while the number of registered voters has increased, the number of people that have showed up at the polls has decreased. It's time to change that statistic. Make your voice heard. If you're watching this live or on a replay, you've taken the time to get to know each candidate. Thank you for being engaged and taking the first step to get involved. Please get out to vote on May 7th. I cannot do this alone. I need and represent all of you. So don't just come out and vote. Talk to your friends and neighbors. Tell them how important it is to get engaged and to come out and vote. It truly takes a village, and Foxborough is the best one. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you all so much for being here tonight. It was great to have you all here. And you know what? This brings our program to a close. We would like to thank the candidates for taking their time out of their busy schedule, their busy campaign schedules, and to participate in tonight's broadcast. Thank you very, very much. We want to thank our media panelists, Alexandra and Dan. Thank you so much for your insightful questions. And thanks again to all the staff here at Foxboro Cable Access. This crew has been awesome. And I guess I'll thank the Jaycees, even though I'm one of them. Thanks to the Jaycees for putting this on. The citizens of Foxboro are just really fortunate to have Foxboro Cable Access deliver all these quality community programs daily. So in tradition with that, tonight's program will be rebroadcast on this channel up until Election Day. Please see the Foxboro Cable Access program schedule for show dates and times. You may also view this program on their website, fcatv.org. And finally, we'd like to thank you, the audience at home, for taking an active role in the upcoming election by viewing this program. It is the Jaycees' hope that the information in this broadcast will assist you in making informed decisions at the polls, coming up again, when, everybody? On Monday, May 7th, at the John J. Ahern Middle School. Polls will be open from 7 a.m. and close at 8 p.m. And as everyone mentioned tonight, don't forget that the town's annual meeting is the following week, Monday, May 14th at 7:30 p.m. at the high school auditorium. It's your town, it's your vote, and as everyone here said, civic engagement matters. Please get out and vote. On behalf of the Foxboro Jaycees, thank you for watching tonight. Thank you for everyone once more, and have a good night. Do a salute.